This is this Tregurtha. This is a 1,000-footer. That's just inching its way into the locks right now. The locks are closed, so you can't get up there on the observation deck. This is I got some a little video of this earlier. It's the Tregurtha. It's 1,000. I think it's like 1,016 feet or something. It may be the biggest Great Lakes freighter. I think it is. Now these things are all locked into the Great Lakes. They can't get through anywhere else. This is a giant ship. This American Mariner is waiting till this gets through. I doubt that you can. I guess you could fit them both through, but it's one ship at a time in the locks. You know what's interesting about these ships is I didn't even know this place up here existed. I usually watch them from the platform, but that's closed, or I go down to Clyde's drive-in, but that's not that great when that area isn't snow plowed. So I was kind of looking around for another place to take some video or shots, and I just drove up here and found this place. I guess these are apartments or condos or something. It kind of runs along the locks that you don't see when you're in the town itself. This is probably within the city limits. I was just talking to a security guard, really nice guy. He said they don't care if you drive back here, they want you to stay like 8 to 10 feet from the fence, which is no problem. This is one killer view right here. What's nice about this is this gives you an idea on how big these damn things are. Where normally, if you don't have something near them to compare, it just looks like a, you know it's big, but you don't know it's this big. This thing's a monster. But what I was going to say is this American Mariners they pulled up, the guys that I was talking to a little while ago. It's so interesting that something is this huge with these giant engines and tons of weight, and they just nurse it around like you were handling a kitten. If you noticed how slow that American Mariner got as it pulled up along the side to dock, I mean, it gets down to like 1/8 of a mile an hour or something, and all of a sudden you realize it's not moving, and guys get out and tie it up like they're doing now. I can't quite figure out why they tie them up. You'd think these things would just stay there when you turn the engine off, or wouldn't move much, but they do tie them up like they did that American Mariner. That guy told me there's a lot of ice out there floating around. You know, I guess because it runs like side to side from west to east, that ice is probably all, gathering around the shores, and you think some of it would be coming through here though, but I guess not, There's no ice floating out there at all, and not much on the ships, which is really kind of one of the main reasons that I came up here. But still good. Yeah, this baby's a monster. I was here last summer or the summer before and was talking to a family. Their son was working on this, and they were talking to him on like a walkie-talkie thing. Kind of interesting. He'd went to that maritime school in Traverse City. As I've said before, these guys are all making their last trips before the locks close on the 15th. And you've got to be through here either way by the 15th. So, they're probably trying to just make as much tracks as they can. Dump this stuff off. What I realized too in watching these freighters is how much distance you can cover when you're running round the clock. They seem to just truck by at about 10 or 12 miles an hour, knots, wherever the hell they float around at. And you get up the next morning, you pass passes you in Belle Isle. You get up the next morning, he's up dinking around Duluth. I mean, like I said, that 24 hours, when you're on the move, you can really cover some ground. There's quite a bit of activity today, actually, coming from both directions, so this is good. I expected a lot more water to be frozen on the ships, but it's not, and it wasn't sunny, so I don't know what the deal is. Although for quite a ways in the St. Mary's River, you're going slow, and you're not getting those big old ass kicker waves like I videotaped earlier underneath the Mackinac Bridge. These big old giant ships just barely puddle along up here. And I used to think too, unless you're really paying attention, you think, wow, you know, these guys are so precise. And it does seem pretty amazing you could take this big giant thing and maneuver it like they do along these seawalls and stuff. But honestly, when you're up at the locks, if you pay attention, they're scraping the whole way through usually. They're banging her across the side. You just don't hear it. But if you really look, you see they're sliding right along the sides. That's how they get these big scrapes on them. You know, they've got all wood and rubber or whatever. But they're not going through without having the sides rub up against whatever they're passing. Now, I'd prefer this view. I mean, the locks are interesting, but I think they're kind of boring. You just fill them up and let them down and just really watch nothing. This is more fun to watch them at least moving. A lot of cars up here looking around. This baby gets a lot of activity. See where it scrapes along there? See that crow up there flying around. Wonder if they throw bread out to him and stuff. Kinda odd, all the places to land, and this crow lands on this giant freighter passing through the locks. But I saw him just fly down in there.